All right, this will be the day trading recap for Monday, July 13th, 2026. So let's start by looking at the pre-market plan right here. Looking at market context. For about 7 days, price was in this nice balanced range. It broke out on Friday of last week. Overnight, we've reclaimed back in this balanced range. You can see on that break, there was a nice low volume node. I was originally looking for that to hold. It did not hold. We've now come back under and it's now rejecting. And then overnight, you can see this bell shape volume profile forming with a nice little balance. So first few things I was watching. First, I wanted to see if we retested this low volume node, which also aligned with this previous resistance from the higher time frame balance. I was watching 7603 through 76014. That's this whole area. Also aligns with this pre-market resistance, this pre-market high. So first thing I was watching for is if that rejected and held, just a quick overnight mean reversion. I was watching a similar setup to the downside for buyers to step in if we tested this previous value area low, pre-market low area, and it's a little bit of a demand area. Nothing crazy, but you can see a little bit of consolidation before a nice rally. So that was my downside level. And then watching for expansions if we were to break out of this balance. To the upside, I wanted to see price break above this low volume node. From there, I could see continuation. And to the downside, since if we opened up weak off of this higher time frame balance high level, form some type of low volume node opening drive downside play, I would have been fine to take it even before these support levels broke, just because that could be a nice higher time frame rejection mean reversion play, and that could kind of be more like an intraday trending day to take out that higher time frame mean reversion move. That's not what happened, but I was planned for that. Kind of the market honestly opened the opposite of that, which is not what I was expecting. So market opens up strong into our low volume node level, and I allow myself to go against my plan a little bit. I originally wanted to wait for the 14s to break for longs, but last week there was probably 2 or 3 days where we had a nice low volume node opening drive setup develop, but the full context wasn't there yet. Like higher time frame context wasn't there, so I didn't take it, and I took what I planned on, and the low volume node ended up holding and my trade didn't work out. So I let that get to me to take this trade. And I shouldn't say let it get to me, because it's a trade I would take again, just with caution, because the confirmation was really good. So we develop a very nice clean low volume node on this profile at open. You can see that low volume node here as well. Recent strength, nice uptrend. Really the only thing, contextually speaking, that's a red flag is that we're still inside this low volume node. But everything besides that looked pretty good. We got a nice sharp aggressive pullback into this low volume node here, which I did not have marked out on this screenshot. Bids loading in here. Strong buying coming off of it. There is really nothing else you need to see for a perfect setup. I got in at the 7s, 607 with a decently fat stop loss at 5 points. I'm sitting right here at 602. One red flag on the confirmation is this heavy offers sitting up here. I ideally wanted to see that pop very quickly, and we didn't. So I ended up getting not much run up on that, and I ended up losing 5 points. A little bit heavy, but it is what it is. So now that price is rejecting, and I'm seeing that we're rejecting this profile low volume node from the plan, I went back to my original thesis, this number 1, watching for sellers here, avoided that long, and I took 2 short setups, both losing. So the first one, when we reclaimed that low volume node and my last trade failed, so my last trade got stopped out at 937 right here, and price was now reclaiming under this low volume node, which we have at the 01s through the 98s. So I guess we weren't reclaiming under it, but we're hitting that low volume node. And I was still kind of watching for a buying attempt here, but what ended up happening was a nice lower high pattern. So we already absorbed buyers here and sold off. Buyers come up again, get absorbed, sell off. When this buyer failed here at this offer, with our confirmation that that low volume node does not appear to be holding, that could have been a nice short entry. Priced and sold off nicely. I then got a little bit of FOMO and tried a similar entry thinking that this was my new lower high. Stopped just above here. I got in at 98.25 with a stop at 01.75, so pretty tight risk, but still, this is not A plus confirmation. Ideally, it would have looked more like sell off to here, come up back here, put this same exact little move right here, just put right there. If that would have happened, that would have been way more ideal location-wise and confirmation-wise. So I ended up losing 3.5 points on that pretty quickly. Was in that trade for 2 minutes. I then got back in the same type of setup. This confirmation worked out a little bit better. What happened here was we got new information. We had this retest happen where we saw exhaustion as this offer loaded in, and then a big heavy seller came in off of that, and you can see that delta load in. See that seller there as well, sitting right on the retest of this low volume node. So context, we're rejecting this low volume node previous balance high. Intraday, we made this low volume node that we failed to hold. We're now below it. Sellers are coming in. Offer is coming in. We're seeing sellers defend this low volume node after this low volume node was defended. And so now we're defending an intraday low volume node here. At this point, I really think sellers could get strong, take out this low, at least push into this demand level. And we did. So I mean, sellers did get strong. We broke low of day. I should have reduced my risk on this move when low of day broke. I was getting coffee. By the time I get back, we're balancing out here, holding right near stop loss. I get a sell off again. This time we break low of day. I am not chancing anything. I go break even. We got pretty close to my first exit. We had 7.75 points run up. I was looking for 9.5 points. So another 7 ticks. I could have gotten out some, but that took break even. Looked like we might hold again and reject. That hit full stop. So I lost half R on that for like 2.375 points. So nice little small loss. It is what it is. At this point, price is coming back up to the high of day. It looks to me like there's a good chance we might just be in an intraday balance. So I'm looking for a mean reversion, especially on a high of day failed break, which is exactly what happened. This is a market developed setup. But at the same time, it is kind of that scenario 1-2 where I was watching for 603, 6014 to reject. You can see rejected right in the middle of that range at 610 at this right up here in this profile low volume node. But we will get into that entry real quick. So price breaks out of high of day by just a couple points. We see that buyer get absorbed and selling quickly reclaims down. So what do I see on this? Aggressive buying breaks the high, dwindles off. It's still coming in, but it's getting exhausted. It's very small. Price starts to sell off a little bit. Sellers are not super aggressive yet, but price is moving down, and I'm not seeing buyers be aggressive. I'm seeing buyers get exhausted. So then this little move happens. When this buyer gets exhausted right here and price started moving down, that was enough for me to just have a stop loss right here at 8.25. My entry was 5.25, so just my lowest risk on the day. Got in right here. Selling started to come in. Another add to this confirmation is we have this offer loading in here. Kind of broke a little bit, but then re-offered and held. The one red flag on this entry was this bid right here that we really needed to see break pretty quick. That easily could have held and been a place for buyers to reload for a pop up. Luckily, it didn't happen. Price sold off nicely. Not the craziest win. I only was risking 3 points. My first target was just the midpoint of the day, which was actually just below 2R, but on a mean reverting type day, especially when it's an intraday balance, it's not as much about RR, it's about where the market is likely to reverse, and that's where you need to get out. So we did that. And then luckily did get a little bit more move, so I was able to trail my runner a bit, and we ended up catching 6.375 points on that for 2.125 RR. So went 1 for 3 on the day, down 4.5 points, which is less than my biggest loss, negative 0.375 RR. So not too bad. Definitely a little bit tricky day with context and conditions. It could have easily been a trending day, but as you can see right now, it's a very mean reverting type day. I originally was looking for that mean reversion type play, and I let my I don't know. I don't want to say I let my last week get to me, because like I said earlier, it was a good trade. It just didn't. There's nothing wrong with what I did on that. The confirmation was showing me perfect confirmations. Lower time frame context was perfect. Maybe size down. But then I go for the higher time mean reversion play. Worked out. Can't be mad about this trade. Like, that entry was a bit poor, but this was a good entry. I ended up getting reduced risk, but like, it went in my favor. It just didn't fully work out. And then another mean reversion type play intraday that did work. So things to get better at: avoid this second entry. That was definitely some FOMO. Possibly size down on the first, or be quicker to reduce risk when context isn't fully developed. But at the end of the day, not too bad. Followed the rules, tracked good data, and fell a little short on A+ setups, but pretty solid. So it's what it is. We'll be back tomorrow.